Welcome to Wilson Talks TM. I'm Andy Wilson, and in this video we are going to discuss my 5 top tips for cloud data engineering. These are things that have really helped me over the last 9 months and also transition from an on-premise solution to a cloud-based Microsoft Azure solution. So here they are. Now, number 1 on my list would be to pick a Microsoft learning pathway. And what this will do is this will ease you in with introductions and then various modules to accomplish maybe the pathway that's associated to your role within technology. And what I mean by that is that on the left hand side in the roles section you can see different roles available that have an associated pathway. And we've got auditor, so I imagine that there's something related to governance in here. So we've got Purview, which is essentially Microsoft's governance framework. Let's have a look at data engineer. So if we have a look at data engineer, we can see that we've got data fundamentals. So this is really good if you want to test your knowledge of Azure, because then you can test that with the Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals exam. Let's have a look at Data Scientist. So what we've got here is we've got the Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals. So and this is another one of those courses that you can do and then test your knowledge by doing the Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals exam. So this is why Microsoft Learn is my number 1 tip, because you can have a learning pathway tailored to your role within technology. So on to number 2. Now, after you've done this, number 2 will be, and you'll probably do this as part of number 1, but is to create yourself a free Microsoft Azure account. Now, the reason for this is to aid in your curiosity. And when you do this, don't be afraid to click on things and have a look at the different terminologies, because what you'll find when you open this Microsoft Azure account, the first thing that you will need to do is create a subscription. This is like creating a Netflix subscription. And imagine all the movies within Netflix are products. Well, this is the same within the Microsoft Azure portal. So the portal is essentially, after you've clicked on your profile picture in Netflix and you go into where all the movies are, this is essentially the Microsoft Azure portal. And what you'll find is you'll find a list of resources available to you, like Data Factory, Databricks, Synapse Analytics, Cognitive Services. Essentially all the things that you would want from an engineering platform in the Microsoft Azure architecture. So number 2 would be create yourself an account. Just be careful with the cost of everything, and if you do create resources, ensure that you switch them off or delete them once you're not using them anymore. So that's number 2. Now number 3 is building on this. And it's going one step further than actually the Microsoft Learning Path. And this for me was really good to learn Databricks. Now, Azure Databricks can be used for transforming your data. It can be used for creating the lakehouse architecture. But this course does all of those things plus visualization. And the reason this course is good is because of the data that it uses. Now, I'm not a Formula One fan, but this uses Formula One data and I found it absolutely brilliant. And the reason for that is that I could relate to it. I could see who won the most trophies, who got the fastest lap, how to concatenate and transform data, how to create lakehouse architecture. And these were all components that have actually helped me within my role as a cloud data engineer. So this is my 3rd tip, and that would be pick an Azure course or pick a course that suits your role, but in a bit more depth, that is tutor led. you have to remember that the Microsoft Learning Pathway is all reliant on you. If you pick a Udemy course like this one, you will have the tutor. You'll also have the questions being asked by other users. So if you get stuck in a particular section, you can have a look at the questions and answers and see if somebody else got stuck and how they resolved it. And you can also see your progress as well on Udemy. And this course, yeah, Azure Databricks and Spark Core for data engineers, Python and SQL, really covers off PySpark, SQL, and how you use those within Databricks. It also covers off creating the free account and how you set up the resources. So that is my third tip, is get a Udemy course, and I'm a big advocate of this one because of the data that it uses. So on to number 4, which is a little bit different. Now, number 4, this is all about the object-oriented programming. Now, there is no doubt, as a cloud data engineer, you will come across an object-oriented language. Now, in the Microsoft Azure stack, for me, it's more commonly Python. And the reason for this is that all the objects within Microsoft Azure are generally JSON objects. And this is a semi-structured file format. And what you'll find is that resources, and especially these resource templates, and also policies, are all stored within a JSON format. Now, Python actually interacts with JSON extremely well. But what I realized was that whilst creating some of the framework, that my Python experience wasn't as good as what I thought it was. So what I did is I enrolled on a course to just improve that. And this course is delivered extremely well. And Dr. Angela Yu, she starts off very slow, very basic, even asks what your experience is and gives a little quiz. And I actually started out as a beginner, and I didn't think I was a beginner, so I was extremely shocked. But it starts out using an IDE called Replit, and this is for the first 15 days. And what that means is that you don't need to go through installing Python, installing Visual Studio Code. You can do it all on your browser. So this is why this course is really good. And generally, courses like this have always got some offers on. And I am a massive advocate of Udemy, and this is another course that I am a huge fan of. And it's mainly because I'm a kinesthetic learner, which basically means that I learn by doing. I learn by creating things. And some of the things that you will build are like blackjack, pong, snake. And to actually see something working aids in my retention of what I'm learning. And this moves me quite swiftly on to number 5, which is all about how you retain that information. And this is using the Cornell University note-taking method. And basically what this is it's a notebook, and I've actually got one here just to show that I'm not just talking rubbish. And basically what it is on the left hand side you have questions that you can ask about what you've written in the notes column. So for instance, if you're writing hello world, or you're concatenating strings, maybe you're using f-string literals to pass through parameters into string, what you can do is you can write the code out on the right hand side, and on the left hand side you can explain that you might have to use double quotes and single quotes, what the F means, what the curly brackets mean. Maybe you're dealing with data types, you're looking at tuples, dictionaries, lists, and the different parentheses that you might use for each. And then at the bottom, you've got the summary. So this is exactly, it might be, you might put summary, string concatenation, remember double quotes, single quotes, and then you might say for different data types, you've got your dictionary, curly brackets, you've got your lists, square brackets, tuples, round brackets. And that might be your summary. But what I found is that was really helpful in the course that Angela Yu was running in the 100 days of Python. Now I don't know Angela Yu personally, but all I know is that that course was delivered really well, and she actually references the Cornell University notebook and illustrates its importance within the 100 days of Python course. So those are my 5 tips. So number 1, Microsoft Learning Pathway. Number 2, get a Microsoft Azure free account. Number 3, pick something that's relevant to you in your role. For Azure Data Engineering, it was the Formula 1 Databricks course that covered Python and SQL, mainly because of the data that it uses. Number 4 is pick an object-oriented language that's relevant to the Azure environment that you're using. So for me, that was Python. And number 5, how you retain that knowledge. And yeah, the Cornell University note-taking method. That's a mouthful. So those are my 5 tips. I'd be interested in the comments. What were the things that really helped you when you started out? What were some of the courses? What were some of the learning pathways that you went on? So I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Andy Wilson, and bye for now.